Hey, it's Ethan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kuat Piston Pro Hitch Bike Rack and how it fits on our 2023 Tesla Model Y. The Piston Pro is a premium bike rack. It's a platform style rack capable of supporting two bikes up to 67 pounds apiece. It's going to hold on to them in a pretty unique dual wheel mount design. So there's a hoop on either side, no frame contact whatsoever. So you can honestly use this rack with pretty much any bike that you can think of, whether that's your heavier e-bikes, mountain bikes like we have here, carbon frame bikes because there's no frame contact, same thing with alternative frame style bikes. So as long as you keep them within that 67-pound weight limit and a few other restrictions that we're going to talk about just a little bit later, you can get pretty much anything on here. One of the nicest features we'll get into right away is the fact that we can tilt the rack away with the bikes loaded up. That being said, the handle is in sort of a hard to reach area, especially if you do have another bike loaded up, which is one of my few drawbacks about this rack. But we can tilt it pretty aggressively, and if we want to at this point, we can go ahead and open up the trunk. Plenty of room to do so. Now, if I did want to, I could come back here, sit down, change my shoes before or after the ride if I wanted to, or now would be the great opportunity to grab anything out of the back that I might need for my ride once I get to where I'm going. To tilt the rack back up can also be a little bit tricky just because there isn't a ton of leverage right here, especially again if you do have another bike loaded up. You have to pretty much generate all of the force from down here, but once you do, it clicks back into place and we can work on getting the bike removed. Here's where that piston name comes into play, so I'll show you this on the closer one. You just press this arm and it releases those pneumatic pistons and it extends those hoops out. So you do have to get them past a certain point, and you can hear it ratcheting back down, making those micro adjustments on our tire. So I'll do the same thing on the bike here. Just hold on to the frame, press that button to release the arm. They do go all the way down, which can be good, and it can also sometimes make it so that they bump against things, like over here. If I were to release that arm all the way down, it would make contact with the sidewall of the garage here. So I'm just going to kind of leave it and work our way around to get the bike removed. With our bike removed, we can take a closer look at these wheel hoops now. As you can see here on the side, we have the ability to adjust them just by pinching these levers here on the back. We can slide it up and down to accommodate different tire sizes, and all the way down if we want to accommodate that fender strap kit we didn't mention, but if you do want to get a bike with fenders on here, you can if you pick that kit up. From here we can take a closer look at the tray, starting off with the fact that they can support a tire width of up to 5 inches right off the bat and a wheelbase of up to 57 inches. Also right here in the middle there is this lock core and opening for your cable lock to fit into. If you want to get that around the frame of your bike and in there to keep the bike secure to the rack, you can. The cable is included but not integrated onto the rack. From here we can get a measurement to see what this is going to be adding on to the length of our vehicle overall. So from the bumper to the furthest point back, it's going to come in at about 24.5 inches. So honestly, for the weight and the features that this provides, it's not too bad. As far as ground clearance goes, we're going to be coming in at 22.5 inches from this furthest point back here. So it's got a nice rise, even though the Model Y does sit pretty low, it gets pretty high up. So I'm not going to be worried about that making any sort of damage or taking damage going up hills or over curbs. If we want to, we can save a little bit of that space by folding the rack up towards our vehicle using the same handle we used to tilt it away. And you'll see it does get really close. So I'll go slowly, and the first thing I'll measure is actually how close we are to that closest point. So in our case, that's going to come in at just barely over an inch from that closest point. I do wish that they had some way to keep these arms closer to the trays, because although it doesn't wiggle back and forth very much, it's really close, maybe too close for comfort for some. But if you want to know how much space we've saved by doing this, our distance added to the back now is going to come in closer to 11 inches, so we definitely do save a ton of space that way. As far as what we cover on the back, it doesn't sit tall enough that it's really going to interfere with our license plate, especially from the view of another car. Our backup camera is right here, and you're definitely going to be able to see the rack through the bottom half of that at least, so that's going to be pretty heavily obstructed. But it sits low enough that it doesn't interfere with our taillights at all, and it doesn't come anywhere near our rear window. In the event that it did, it does have this light kit attached to it. If you do have 4-pole wiring on your vehicle, In our case, we didn't, so we couldn't hook it up, but if you do, or you want to upgrade to that at some point, that is an option. The rack does use a 2-inch shank that fits into our 2-inch receiver tube. It's held in place by this pin and a lock on the other end. It's honestly nice that it's not an anti-rattle bolt because we don't have a ton of room in there. The tool that we need to tighten it down is stored right up here on top of the rack. It just pops right out, and we can lock that up if we need to. It just fits in right here in the back as an anti-rattle to tighten everything down and make sure that it's all secure. So if you are looking for a premium rack with premium features, that's going to allow you to bring pretty much any bike that you can think of where you need it to go, as long as it is under 67 pounds and the restrictions that we mentioned in the video. There is also a telescopic ramp attachment if you need a little bit of help getting those heavier bikes loaded and unloaded. It tilts away far enough for us to get in the back easily. It's small enough that it doesn't really interfere with anything on the back, and it just works really well and has that Kuat finish. So if you are looking for a premium option, this would be it. If you are looking for something maybe slightly more affordable that works in a similar way, you could check out something like the Rocky Mounts guide rail. It has that dual wheel mount design as well, but it's going to come in at that affordable price that I mentioned. But if you do like the Kuat Piston Pro for all its premium features, it is a really solid choice and a nice fit on our 2023 Tesla Model Y.
We're gonna take it out here on the test course. First thing we're gonna do is hit the bumps. We're just gonna see what it's like if we did hit some speed bumps. I'm watching the bike, watching how it holds on the tires. It looks like it moves just a little bit, not too much. This is mostly standard with other bike racks, so nothing to worry about. The bike doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Now we're gonna go a little bit faster in the parking lot. I'm gonna take some aggressive turns and see how it handles there. Looks like it's fine. I see a little movement again, but again, the bike's not going anywhere, so I don't have to worry about it.